Ted Bundy, the charismatic killer. Theodore Robert Bundy was born on November 24, 1946, in Burlington, Vermont. His mother, Eleanor Louise Cowell, was unmarried, and Bundy was raised by his grandparents, Samuel and Eleanor Cowell, who presented themselves as his parents to avoid the stigma of illegitimacy. Bundy believed his mother was his sister until he discovered the truth in his teenage years, a revelation that reportedly had a profound impact on him. Bundy grew up in Tacoma, Washington, where he lived with his mother and stepfather, Johnny Bundy, who adopted him. Despite a troubled family background, Bundy was described as a polite and intelligent young man. He excelled academically and was known for his charm and good looks. He graduated from the University of Washington with a degree in psychology in 1972. Bundy's criminal activities began to escalate in the early 1970s. He started with petty thefts and burglaries but soon moved on to more violent crimes. His first confirmed attack was on Karen Sparks, also known as Joni Lenz, a University of Washington student, in January 1974. Bundy broke into her apartment, bludgeoned her with a metal rod from her bed frame, and sexually assaulted her with the same rod, causing severe internal injuries. Sparks survived but was left with permanent disabilities. Bundy's killing spree escalated, and he began targeting young women across multiple states. His modus operandi often involved feigning an injury or posing as an authority figure to gain the trust of his victims. He would then abduct, assault, and murder them, often returning to the crime scenes to sexually violate the bodies. In 1974 alone, Bundy is believed to have killed at least 8 women in Washington, Oregon, and Utah. Notable cases include Linda and Healy, disappeared from her basement room on January 31, 1974. Her skull and mandible were later found on Taylor Mountain. Donna Gail Manson, disappeared on March 12, 1974, from Evergreen State College. Her remains were never recovered. Susan Elaine Rancourt, disappeared on April 17, 1974, from Central Washington State College. Her skull was later found on Taylor Mountain. Roberta Kathleen Parks, disappeared on May 6, 1974, from Oregon State University. Her skull was found on Taylor Mountain. Bundy was first arrested on August 16, 1975, in Salt Lake City, Utah, when a police officer noticed his car loitering near a house. Inside the car, police found burglary tools, masks, gloves, and handcuffs. He was initially arrested for possession of these tools, but was later identified by Carol Duranche, a woman he had attempted to abduct in November 1974. Bundy was convicted of Duranche's kidnapping and sentenced to 1 to 15 years in prison. In 1977, Bundy was charged with the murder of Karen Campbell, who disappeared from a Colorado ski resort in January 1975. While in custody, Bundy acted as his own attorney and was allowed to use the law library at the Pitkin County Courthouse. On June 7, 1977, during a recess, Bundy escaped by jumping from a second-story window. He was recaptured 8 days later. In December 1977, Bundy escaped again, this time from the Garfield County Jail in Colorado. He had managed to saw a hole in the ceiling of his cell and climbed out. This escape led to a nationwide manhunt. After his second escape, Bundy traveled to Florida, where he committed some of his most heinous crimes. On January 15, 1978, he entered the Chi Omega sorority house at Florida State University. Bundy bludgeoned and strangled 4 women, killing 2, Margaret Bowman and Lisa Levy, and severely injuring Karen Chandler and Kathy Kleiner. Later that night, he attacked another woman, Cheryl Thomas, in her nearby apartment, leaving her with permanent injuries. On February 9, 1978, Bundy abducted 12-year-old Kimberly Leach from her junior high school in Lake City, Florida. Her body was found weeks later, dumped in a pig shed. Bundy was finally captured on February 15, 1978, in Pensacola, Florida, after a routine traffic stop. The officer who arrested him had no idea he had caught one of America's most wanted men. Bundy's trial for the Chi Omega murders began in June 1979. It was one of the first trials to be nationally televised, and Bundy, ever the showman, chose to represent himself. Despite his attempts to charm the jury and the public, he was convicted of the Chi Omega murders on July 24, 1979, and sentenced to death. In 1980, he was convicted of Kimberly Leach's murder and received another death sentence. Bundy spent nearly a decade on death row, during which he provided detailed confessions of his crimes, helping to solve numerous cold cases. He continued to appeal his death sentence, but all attempts were unsuccessful. On January 24, 1989, Ted Bundy was executed in the electric chair at Florida State Prison. Ted Bundy's crimes have left an indelible mark on the collective psyche. His case has been the subject of extensive media coverage, documentaries, books, and films. Bundy's ability to appear normal and charming while harboring such violent tendencies has made him a subject of endless fascination and horror. His story serves as a chilling reminder of the potential for evil that can lurk behind a seemingly benign exterior.